1. Kansas political battle, Chiefs vs. Royals, who will stay? 2. Kansas, Royals vs. Chiefs, a divided state? American football baseball. 3. Patrick Mahomes weighs in, Missouri vs. Kansas stadium debate. 4. Patrick Mahomes discusses Chiefs stadium dilemma, Arrowhead vs. New Kansas venue. 1. Kansas political battle, Chiefs vs. Royals, who will stay? In a surprising twist, a political debate has erupted in Kansas over the future of its beloved sports teams, the Chiefs and the Royals. The state is vying to attract both franchises from neighboring Missouri, but what if the situation forces a choice between the two? This dilemma has sparked a lively discussion among state leaders and residents alike. Senate President Ty Masterson, a Republican, has been vocal in his criticism of Governor Laura Kelly, a Democrat, suggesting that she shows a clear preference for the Royals. In a recent statement to reporters, Masterson remarked, "It is political. And I think most Kansans know there's a little bit of a disconnect. I think the administration tends to favor the Royals over the Chiefs, and I think most everyone else in the conversation would say the inverse. But it would be great to have both of them." This contention raises an interesting point. Some believe the Royals have the upper hand simply because they play significantly more games each season, 81 home games compared to the Chiefs' 10. Of course, both teams have the potential to host additional games during the postseason, with the Chiefs often making a strong showing. However, the conversation doesn't stop at the number of games. Masterson argues that constructing a domed stadium for the Chiefs could yield substantial benefits that extend beyond just football. If you build a dome, you're talking Super Bowls, Final Fours, major concerts, lots of development around it, he explained, highlighting the broader economic impact such a facility could have on the region. As the debate unfolds, it remains uncertain how the situation will develop. There is a possibility that Kansas may ultimately prioritize the Royals, potentially allowing Missouri to retain the Chiefs. But here's where it gets controversial. Should a state really have to choose between two beloved teams? What do you think? Should Kansas focus on one over the other, or is there a way to support both? Share your thoughts in the comments. 2. Kansas, Royals vs. Chiefs, a divided state? American football baseball. Is there a growing divide in Kansas regarding the preference for the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Royals? This question is stirring up a political debate that is becoming increasingly pronounced. Both Republican and Democratic leaders are expressing a desire to attract both sports teams to the Sunflower State. Recently, top lawmakers renewed a substantial public subsidy offer that could theoretically support the construction of two stadiums. However, Senate President Ty Masterson, a Republican from Andover, has made it clear that he believes securing the Chiefs should be Kansas' top priority. He has repeatedly accused Democratic Governor Laura Kelly of showing favoritism towards the Royals. In response, officials from the Kelly administration have firmly denied any neglect of the Chiefs, suggesting that unnamed special interests may be attempting to influence the negotiations inappropriately. Lieutenant Governor David Toland emphasized on July 7 that the administration is committed to prioritizing the economic interests of Kansas in their discussions with both teams, resisting any political pressure to allocate taxpayer dollars to appease specific groups. Toland, who also serves as the Secretary of Commerce, is responsible for leading the negotiations regarding the stadium incentives established by state law. Masterson first raised concerns about the administration's alleged bias towards the Royals during a July 2 interview with Kansas City Sports Radio 810 WHB. He reiterated his stance after voting to extend the offer to fund up to 70% of new stadium costs through sales tax and revenue, bonds. "It is political," Masterson stated to reporters. "I think most Kansans recognize there's a disconnect. The administration seems to favor the Royals over the Chiefs, while many others in the discussion would argue the opposite. However, it would be fantastic to have both teams in Kansas." In defense of the administration, Kelly's chief of staff, Will Lawrence, stressed the importance of allowing the Department of Commerce to lead the negotiations. This approach helps to avoid the special interest giveaways that often appear in the legislature's budget proposals, Lawrence explained to the Star. When pressed for details about which special interest groups might be trying to sway the negotiations, Commerce spokesperson Patrick Lowry refrained from providing specifics. He stated, due to the need for discretion and confidentiality in major economic development projects, the department will not comment further on negotiations or future agreements. Interestingly, Kansas City Chiefs chairman and CEO Clark Hunt and his family have a history of supporting conservative causes, including contributions to a political action committee that opposed a Missouri amendment last year aimed at protecting abortion rights. So, would a new stadium for either the Chiefs or the Royals benefit Kansas? An agreement to finance a stadium for one or both teams would represent the largest star bond project in the state's history. Estimates suggest that a domed stadium for the Chiefs could cost around $3 billion, excluding any practice facilities, while representatives from the Royals have indicated that a new ballpark could range from $1 billion to $2 billion. The Star Bond program is designed to repay bond debt using sales tax revenue generated by new attractions and surrounding developments. Until the debt is fully repaid, this new sales revenue cannot be allocated to other state and local government priorities. When asked last week which stadium, Chiefs or Royals, might be more likely to repay the public subsidy promptly, Senate Minority Leader Dinah Sykes, a Democrat from Lenexa, offered a straightforward response. I would think the Royals would have an advantage due to the sheer number of games they play, she noted. Major League Baseball teams typically host 81 home games each year, while NFL teams play either 8 or 9 regular season games, along with 2 or 1 preseason games, respectively. In his radio interview, Masterson, who is widely anticipated to run for governor next year, expressed his belief that a Chiefs stadium would generate more revenue potential. If you construct a dome, you're looking at hosting Super Bowls, Final Fours, major concerts, and significant development around it, he explained. I genuinely believe it won't be overly challenging to reach the revenue figures necessary to cover the bond. Masterson also claimed credit for convincing Chiefs President Mark Donovan to send a letter requesting that top lawmakers extend the deadline for finalizing a Kansas deal, which has now been postponed to December 31st. I said, I need something in writing that shows you're engaged in real discussions, Masterson recounted. I'm thankful he provided that, and he actually offered more than I had requested. In his letter, Donovan stated that the Chiefs had submitted a proposal to the state and had not received a response for 6 weeks, a claim that officials from the Kelly administration dispute. Masterson believes that Kansas can present a more attractive deal to both teams compared to Missouri, which recently passed legislation during a special session in June to cover up to 50% of stadium costs. However, securing a deal in Missouri would necessitate a local sales tax vote, similar to the one that Jackson County voters rejected in April 2024. For the team owners, it's all about business, Masterson remarked. These individuals are billionaires, and it's fundamentally about the opportunities available to them. While fans and lawmakers from both sides of the state line have highlighted the potential economic benefits of securing stadium deals, extensive research has shown that stadium projects often fail to recoup the public funding invested in them. Supporters of utilizing star bonds argue that taxpayers are not liable if the projects do not generate sufficient revenue to repay the debt. They point out that, under state law, Kansas and local governments cannot be compelled to raise taxes or make direct payments to cover the bonds in the event of a default. Although this is accurate, experts caution that it underestimates the risk of rising borrowing costs if a star bond project defaults, leading investors to view state-issued bonds as unreliable. This article was originally published on July 14, 2025, at 5:30 a.m. Matthew Kelly serves as the Kansas City Star's Kansas state government reporter and has previously covered local government for the Wichita Eagle. He holds a degree in political science from Wichita State University. 3. Patrick Mahomes weighs in, Missouri versus Kansas Stadium debate. Imagine a scenario where the future of a beloved sports franchise hangs in the balance, and the star player is caught in the middle. This is precisely the situation facing Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs as they deliberate whether to renovate their iconic Arrowhead Stadium in Missouri or to construct a brand new facility in Kansas. Mahomes, the face of the franchise, finds himself navigating this complex decision with a diplomatic approach. In a recent conversation with Alex Sherman from CNBC Sport, Mahomes candidly expressed, "It is really out of my control, honestly. But I think Arrowhead is a special place. It's a special place that doesn't come around a lot of times. It's my favorite place to play in the NFL, not just because it's my team, but you can feel the history of it when you play." His words resonate with the deep emotional connection that players and fans alike have with Arrowhead Stadium, a venue steeped in tradition and unforgettable moments. But what about the potential new stadium in Kansas? Mahomes acknowledges the merits of this option as well, stating, "But I know Kansas has done a great bit as well. And I mean, they would build a great stadium and facility and be the top of the top." This perspective highlights the exciting possibilities that a new venue could bring, including state-of-the-art amenities and a fresh atmosphere for fans. Ultimately, Mahomes remains optimistic about the future, asserting, "I don't really have a choice no matter, anyways, but I think either way, we can't go wrong, because we have the fan base of the Chiefs' kingdom behind us, and they'll fill that stadium, no matter if it's in Missouri or Kansas. So I'm just excited for the future of the Kansas City Chiefs." This statement underscores the unwavering support of the Chiefs' loyal fan base, which is a crucial factor in the team's success, regardless of the location of their home games. As it stands, the Chiefs' current lease at Arrowhead Stadium extends through the 2030 season, at which point Mahomes will be 34 years old. If a new stadium opens in Kansas City the following season, he will be turning 35. While this may place him closer to the twilight of his career, there is still a strong possibility that Mahomes will have several productive years ahead of him. So, what do you think? Should the Chiefs stick with the historic Arrowhead Stadium, or is it time for a change? This decision could spark a lively debate among fans and experts alike. Share your thoughts in the comments below. 4. Patrick Mahomes discusses Chiefs Stadium dilemma, Arrowhead vs. new Kansas venue. The future of the Kansas City Chiefs hangs in the balance as they weigh a crucial decision: should they renovate the beloved Arrowhead Stadium or consider a move to Kansas? This debate has sparked strong opinions, and quarterback Patrick Mahomes recently shared his perspective on this pivotal issue. In a candid conversation with CNBC's Alex Sherman, the 29-year-old star quarterback provided insight into his feelings about the stadium situation. "Ultimately, I have no control over the decision," Mahomes remarked when asked for his preference. "However, Arrowhead truly holds a special place in my heart. It's a unique venue that's rare in the world of sports. To me, as a player, it's the most remarkable stadium to play in the NFL, not solely due to my allegiance to the team but because you can actually sense the rich history that surrounds it whenever you're on the field." Mahomes has certainly contributed significantly to Arrowhead Stadium's legacy. Throughout his 7 years as a starting quarterback, he has taken the Chiefs to the AFC Championship game annually, with nearly all of those title matches taking place at Arrowhead. As this conversation continues, it's worth mentioning that just last week, the Kansas Legislative Coordinating Council announced an extension to the state's Star Bonds program, pushing the deadline to June 30, 2026. This decision followed a formal request from Chiefs President Mark Donovan, and it was also prompted by input from the Kansas City Royals. According to Senate President Ty Masterson, this development overwhelmingly signals a growing interest in the possibility of a larger project involving the Chiefs. In a letter addressed to Masterson on June 26, Donovan expressed that the Chiefs have made significant strides in negotiating key components for a potential relocation to Kansas. However, he acknowledged the complexity and ambitious scope of such a project, emphasizing the need for additional time to see the plans fully come to life. When putting Arrowhead Stadium's age into context, it's noteworthy that, since its opening in 1972, only Soldier Field, which debuted in 1924 for the Chicago Bears, and Lambeau Field, which opened in 1957 for the Green Bay Packers, have been around longer. This year marks the end of Highmark Stadium, home of the Buffalo Bills, which opened a year after Arrowhead in 1973. Despite the debates around relocation, Mahomes views the potential Kansas move positively. "Kansas has made a fantastic proposal and would construct a state-of-the-art stadium and facilities for us," he stated confidently. "It would be top tier. But let's be real, I don't have a say in this matter. Regardless of where we end up, I believe we're in a good position because the Chiefs Kingdom fan base is strong, and they will fill up the stadium whether it's in Missouri or Kansas. I'm genuinely looking forward to what's next for the Kansas City Chiefs. What are your thoughts on this debate? Is it time for a new stadium, or should Arrowhead be preserved? Share your views in the comments.